You're listening to the Downshift podcast, where four mates from Melbourne take you trackside for all the action in Formula One, breaking down the races, the drama, and everything in between, all with a little banter and a lot of passion. If you love motorsport and cars, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you're always on the grid with us. And if you want to support the team, leave us a 5-star review. So let's get into another action-packed episode. It's lights out, drop the clutch, and let's get racing.
Welcome to the Downshift. As four mates from Down Under talk all things Formula One, and this week is our Hungary review of the Hungary F1 Grand Prix at the Hungary. Hey, I said it right. I just said it in the wrong order.
Close enough.
So we're going to have a bit of a chat about that. But before we do, we have a bit of housekeeping to take care of. So in response to some listener concerns, we need to deal with an issue that we've been faced with, and this is relating to you, Lachlan. So I need you to turn around behind you. And in the bottom left drawer of your white cabinet, the black drawer is a gift for you in a bag. So you need to take that out and open that up.
Here we go.
Concerned how you got into my house, if I'm brutally honest.
For people who aren't watching this on YouTube, Lachlan looks rather worried about this.
Yeah. No, look, well, I'm just addressing the concerns that we've had from viewers about our setups here. So.
No, that's okay. I can work with this.
Dealt with.
All right. He's about to show us what he's got.
He's gone off screen too.
What this investment is all about.
So I'm a little worried, Dan. Do you have keys to all our houses?
Yeah. Should I be turning around as well?
It's behind you.
I'm nervous.
In the coming weeks, perhaps.
Technical glitch. Keep talking.
All right. A technical glitch.
A technical glitch. Rightio.
This is live podcasting at its finest.
Yeah. How's it going to go wrong here?
Finest might be a strong word to
While we're
use.
waiting, we will say that it was an exciting race that we all sat down together and watched.
Oh my goodness. How do we describe this for our Spotify listeners?
Actually, that looks like a cricket commentator that was well known. So the concern that we've had was that there was a shiny spot on Lachlan's
A shiny spot on Lachlan's head.
And so
I'll be more concerned I've got a price tag at the back of my head, or
Yeah, Lachlan doesn't have a lot of hair. We'll say that.
He's follically
Is that a nice way to say it?
Really?
Follically challenged. Now, I don't know. The only way I can describe what Lachlan's got on his head now is.
the concern is I might have to wear this to bed tonight. Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
Dead animal.
Is that on the right way?
I'm not sure. Let me look at the picture. Hold on.
He's definitely got some type of hair on his
It
head
does
now.
actually say new fashion, which I'm even more concerned about.
I was going for the 80s rocker look because there were some options.
80s rocker.
I thought the 80s rocker might work well, but
He looks like my dodgy Uncle Gary.
there you go.
That might be
There
better.
you go.
Oh, there we go.
That.
Oh,
Is there some grey in
Come
there?
at me, baby.
Who is
Is
who
there
is
some
that?
grey in there?
It's
Because
got
he
tints.
turns 49 tomorrow.
It's
Happy
got tints
birthday,
in it.
Lachlan.
happy birthday.
You boys.
This will see you through for the rest of your life now.
All right.
I tell you.
Now, before people
Can I wear it
unsubscribe,
in the shower, Dan? Like, can I wash it, or how does this work? Like,
I don't think I'm surprised you even got that close to your head. I don't know. It's come from overseas, so I don't know what it's got in it.
this is helping my OCD. We've now got 4 people in the grid on the video here that all have hair. I'm happy with this.
to be fair,
No
it's
reflections.
been
No
very
reflections.
not
level.
really it's not going to affect my hair follicles, so we'll be all right. So there's no problems with that part. So we'll be good.
No problem solved. There you go.
All right. Excellent.
And just to clarify, does my wife know that you gave me this, or is this just?
Oh, we'll
Well, when Dan was over at your place the other night, just be careful when you step out of your office, Lockie. We can't be held responsible for what happens.
They'll all be asleep. Don't worry.
I actually turned up at the door wearing that, and she thought I was there to sell her a vacuum cleaner.
You went the
Did
pool
we get a new
cleaner.
one?
A pool cleaner.
The pool cleaner.
Anyway.
Formula One.
Apparently, there was a Formula One race on the weekend.
Now that we've dealt with the buff issue, the shiny head issue, we can move on to the real topic, which was the very interesting race that was the Hungary F1 Grand Prix. So, Hungary.
Close enough.
Right.
Well done.
Is it just an
Well done.
accent thing?
Yeah,
Anyway.
To be
probably.
fair, it's closer than
Moving on.
Christian gets most weeks, so we're happy to run with it.
Well,
It
I was
was.
going to say.
It was an exciting race. It was nearly as exciting as the roadkill on Lachlan's head at the moment.
You realise this is staying all episode. I'm not taking it off.
Well, that's the whole idea.
No, I like it. It actually suits you.
And now I'm going to have to go and buy some different ones.
Ooh, different days of the week. Nice. Not like how he changed jumpers between episodes.
I hate to say it's a bit Donald Trump, but anyway.
I saw a few.
I do have a MAGA hat too, if you want me to go and grab that. Like...
No, let's not do that.
So, for me, the exciting part about the Hungary Grand Prix was watching Nathan white knuckles through the end of the race as Oscar was desperately trying to catch Lando in the closing stages of that race.
To be fair, I think the three of us actually enjoyed watching Nathan get a little upset with that. So
yeah, that's probably very true because he was, come on, Oscar. He was getting there, but he didn't quite get there. But anyway, so
Happy, you were sharing some pretty big emotions during that time. So maybe you'd like to share with us, using your big boy words, how you felt about the end of the race.
I'll give you guys a calm version of that. Obviously, I'm an Oscar Piastri, Australian racing fan. I've supported Mark Webber and Ricciardo and now Oscar. But we were all hoping that Oscar might be able to catch up to Lando at the end of the race. He did. It was just very frustrating for me to see that Oscar couldn't get back to first position when he had a great start to the race. He was following Charles. He was doing a really good job. He had to follow the strategy at the front just to make sure he could try and at least undercut Leclerc. Didn't look like the one stop was going to be an option for him because he was in dirty air for the first half of the race. So it was really his only option, and Lando took the gamble to go on the one stopper. And it just showed how important track position was. He had track position, and it was very hard to overtake at the end of the race. So, yes, I was mildly frustrated, but...
Sorry, mildly?
Yeah, mildly.
I can't wait to see you full frustrated.
Well, the dumbest bit might come. I mean, look, we were probably all expecting that this could have been perhaps the start of a few fireworks between the two drivers because Zach said they were free to race. We knew it was going to be tight at the end, but Lando did a much better job than he did last round. He didn't make mistakes. He held the lead. He kept his nerve and came home with a win. So, yeah, McLaren won too. Personally, I would have loved to have seen Oscar get up and get the win. I think he probably deserved it. But, yeah, a good finish from McLaren.
Do you really think that Lando had the choice in that strategy? Because it feels to me like, and even last race and 2 races ago, it was like a McLaren run different strategies to hedge their bets to make sure they're both at the front and they can block sort of everyone else. And
yeah, well, a lot of teams will do that, especially if their drivers are close together. But then, like you say, you've also got the situation in the race. So if you've got a chance to undercut someone and get track position, especially at the Hungary, that's what they try to do with Oscar. So sometimes you're forced into a strategy by other teams, and in this case, McLaren, I guess, had a choice. They gave Lando the option. He could have done the two stop, and he made the call to go to the end. So, yeah, he drove quite a few laps on the hard tyre, but again, the car was lighter, had less fuel at the end of the race, and he managed the pace quite well.
I mean, position aside, Piastri did well with the two-stop strategy to end up only, seconds behind?
0.6, hang on. 0.698.
So
and about this far from Lando's rear wing into turn 1 on the second last lap. That was pretty close.
Because George said in the cool down room, he goes, "Oh, why don't you just run into him?
T-bone him." Yeah. More exciting for George. He would have got the race win. Yeah. But yeah, it was an exciting race in the end. It really highlighted McLaren's consistency. We talked about that when we were watching the race yesterday. Ferrari's qualifying pace, we can talk about that later. They had really good qualifying pace and great speed at the start of the race, but failed in the end. They really dropped the pace. They ran nearly a second a lap. I think they were down in that last stint. And there were a couple other good performances as well, Christian.
Wrapping up on the pit stops, and as we did the preview of the race, we'd mentioned that last year was only one driver that did the one stop, which was Yuki Tsunoda, and it didn't work for him. We actually had 8 drivers who did the one stop for this race. So we did see a difference in strategy. These tyres are holding up so much better than historically. And what was interesting for me was Piastri had actually talked about taking the tyres that little bit longer, and McLaren saying they weren't ready or it was a bit too busy, and he pitted it at lap 18. So, obviously had to then do another stop to be able to put fresh hards on at lap 45. So it's, I think more could have been said in regards to the masterclass that he did in regards to his catch up to Lando from lap 50 all the way to lap 70. So,
yeah, we had much fresher tyres, and Leclerc was an easy target because of what seemed to happen to his car at the end of the race.
Well, to be fair, Leclerc tried to run him off the road at the same time. So he wasn't giving up without some sort of a fight.
To Happy's point, we actually all got together at DownShift headquarters last night to watch the race, and you can see us all in our new DownShift shirts that Dan has provided for the team. So, and I'm putting the photo up here of us all sitting on our makeshift headquarters to watch the race. So it was great to be able to get together and have a little bit of banter over this.
And not have a blackout or rain.
Even better, the race started on
race for 2
time. That
hours
was handy as
or
well.
an hour and a half. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I put a generator outside just in case. So, Happy, you mentioned Ferrari, and look, I think it deserves some analysis in regards to that. We did see a surprise for Ferrari as they started the weekend. So, do you want to lead us into some thoughts around Ferrari?
Yeah, well, the discussion today on X, particularly from Alex Brundle, and we know George made a couple of comments in post-race interviews about the concerns that Ferrari might have had in running an illegal car. And I think what they were referring to is the plank wear on the Ferrari. So it seems to be, if you join the dots, as Alex Brundle said, that the Ferrari is quite a quick car when they run it really low. So they were able to get some great pace out of it in qualifying. They probably had that pace again in the first 2 stints of the race because they were running the car in the quality spec. You can't change it. It's in Parc Fermé when you finish qualifying. So Leclerc was actually running really good pace out the front. So Oscar was not going too easy on his tyres. I think he was trying to sort of keep up, but Leclerc was pushing quite hard. And then we had some very interesting radio chat from Leclerc. There was some coded messages going back to his engineer saying, I disagree with what you guys are doing. You should have let me manage this situation and this issue. He just talked about some vague issues. And the last stint, he was quite slow and ended up finishing, I think it was around 40 seconds off the lead, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's another 20 behind Russell.
Yeah, Russell finished well. I think the McLarens and the Mercedes both, the track came to them, so their cars were quick at the end of the race. So I guess the rumor was that for the last stint, Ferrari had to pit for new tyres, because if they had kept running the same set of tyres, they would have worn down too low. They would have been at risk of wearing the plank too thin on the bottom of the car, which would have got them disqualified. So one way to fix that seems to be what Charles was disagreeing with, was to pit, put fresh tyres on, which are obviously thicker tread, maybe run even slightly higher than minimum pressures just to lift the car a millimetre or two. And in conjunction with that, you can also lift and coast down the end of the straights, because at the end of the straights, when you're running maximum velocity, that's when you've got the most downforce and it's pushing the car down onto the track to wear the plank the most. So it could have been a combination of the three: new tyres, maybe higher pressures, and some lift and coast. But what that meant was, for that last stint, they just had no pace left at the end of the race if they wanted to not get disqualified. So that's the rumour. But yeah, I think quite interesting.
Yeah, because when we saw, I mean, this was a surprising pole for Charles in qualifying, and taking out at a 15.372. He edged out Piastri at just under 300ths of a second, and Norris at 400ths of a second. So the Ferrari was good, and Charles was actually surprised that he got P1 from qualifying.
It seemed to be, and the comment from Lando and Oscar in qualifying was that they thought they ran good laps. There was nothing bad about their laps. So Ferrari actually got there on pure pace. So perhaps this was an error in strategy from Ferrari, from quali following through to the race. They just set the car up that would have, if they had to run it like that for the whole race, it might have ended up being illegal at the end.
There was a big difference between Q2 and Q3, though, for times, and that was attributed a lot, the driver said, to the wind change. I think that knocked a lot of drivers around, so there was nearly half a second time difference.
Yeah, they said the wind did a 180 instead of being a tail or something. It came to a headwind and just blew the cars around.
And 3 meters a second is actually a pretty decent sort of breeze. So, and these cars get pretty heavily affected by the wind through corners.
Yeah.
And so I saw too that, obviously, Lewis was very displeased with his performances during the day, but the comparison I saw was that his pace in Q2 compared to Charles Leclerc was pretty good. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't enough to get him through to Q3. But then, so his Q3 pace and then Charles's his pole Lewis is measuring himself from Q2 to his pole position result, going, obviously we can get to pole. Why I should have, and was very disappointed with it. But it wasn't really a fair comparison because he was comparing the wrong one.
I don't think I've ever seen him that despondent or critical of himself ever.
He's showing a lot more of it, and I in recent races and even last week. But he did well to get back up from 18th, wasn't it? That he ended up, he picked up 7 positions, I think it was, to 11th, and so sure he didn't get points. I actually got to say I'm quite disappointed in Lewis, just the way he talks. I know he's quite a role model to a lot of people of all different backgrounds, and I think probably particularly kids as well. And for him to get up and go, "I'm useless," I know he's frustrated. I know he's having a hard time of it, but I think it's a really not a great thing for him to be saying, for people to sit there and go, the kids in the playground go, I'm useless, and sort of have those self-doubt things that they can say out loud about themselves. It's just, he had a tough day, but he could have done better. And I think I said earlier, like, part of that was it sounds like the post-race interviews now that the drivers give are a lot earlier than they used to be. Like, they used to get the chance to go and have a chat to their team, their engineers, their PR people, and go, right, this is how we're going to have a chat about this, have a bit of a debrief, a bit of a cool down. And now the interviews happen quite quickly. The drivers are quite raw out of the car. The emotions are right there. They probably even haven't, just had a chance to wipe their face down with a towel.
You got a microphone in your face before you can even towel off.
Yeah. So, and that's not, look, that's just the way of it. And that's like the swearing in the cars too, isn't it? Right. It's right there and it's right then. It's not, it's not, if you had gone away from it later, you wouldn't be sort of, cursing and swearing about what happened on track. But
maybe
still,
that's why Max had to throw his towel out of the car, just so he had a little bit more time before getting in front of a microphone.
I like the fact that Lewis was he's pretty raw and honest, and obviously struggling at the moment. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad message for
a different driver.
Yeah, he goes. He said obviously the number one. We managed to get pole in the car, so it must be me. I'm useless. We should get another driver. Yeah.
And this is where, for me, it's a bit of a mental.
I think they should stick with Lewis. I watched you do sim laps last night around the track. Stick with Lewis.
But it's a bit of a mental health check for Lewis as well. We saw him coming into Silverstone of last year when he won the race, how despondent he was before that, and he said, "I thought I was done. I thought that was me for Formula One in regards to performance." It seems just that little bit more raw at the moment in regards to Ferrari. We saw last weekend talking about the brief that he wrote for the team as to his ideas as to what they need to do, and this is the second brief he's written for Ferrari this year. So he's been public about that. But to have this introspection in regards to just being completely despondent, it's something which needs to turn around. And Dan, to your point, this is an opportunity to talk about mental health, talk about how you can bounce back. And for those who do follow him and motivated by him, it's an opportunity to be able to bring that to the fore and talk about race preparedness or even just in life. So wrapping up Ferrari, and look, I completely understand Ferrari are nervous in regards to how they're managing their cars and their strategy. They don't want to face what they saw at the Chinese Grand Prix earlier this year with a double disqualification, with Charles's car being underweight by a kilo and Lewis actually having that excessive skid block wear. So yeah, they need to get this right. Otherwise it's just going to hurt them.
Yep. And I think Lewis really needs a 3-week break just to clear his head and have a think about the first half of the season. And it's a pretty brutal sport, Formula One, because you live and die by your performances in the car, and he just hasn't been able to keep up with Charlie. So yeah, we'll see how he attacks the second half. But he's a sort of bloke that never gives up. Like, he will dig deep and he'll come through it. But I don't know, will he be able to match Leclerc in the second half of the season? We will see.
And to Christian's point earlier, like, how he's in a bit of a, probably not in a great place right now. Like, this is probably a good chance to maybe see him have a break, come back and go, right, I've gone for a long bike ride or whatever I've done. I've had to talk to some people or just gotten away from it, and I've come back, I'm fresh, and I've just got to get back to that mental fortitude that he's had in the past.
Yep.
To just be, let's knuckle down and get this done.
Let's hope he finds out what it is he's missing, because at the moment he seems like he doesn't know why. And that's got to be the toughest thing to do, is to not understand why you can't get to that next level, and he's always been at the top, like for the past 10 years or so. So, yeah,
And that's
tough
probably
one.
frustrating him more than anything, the fact he knows he can be there, but he's just not delivering at that point in time. So
Maybe it is a bit of age, he's been around a while, so we'll see.
Wow. Alonso's still doing all right for his age, isn't he?
Well, I was going to say, so if we talk about qualifying and we go from one post-quali interview to another couple of post-race, the post-quali interviews, Lachy, it tickled your fancy in regards to one Mr. Lance Stroll.
yeah, I mean, Lance's was quite interesting when they put the microphone in front of him. Lance, you seem to have found this speed. The car's had some upgrades, and he looked like he didn't know what she was talking about. The blank stare of, wait, I'm probably supposed to talk about now. We did very well. Car was good.
Bernie's hard-hitting interviewing technique.
Oh,
Poor Bernie.
but then
I think she was hoping for something
and then
else.
they turned around to Alonso and went, "Oh, the car seems to go." And he gave the detailed description of, "Yes, we've got the wing, and we've tweaked this, and that's made the car balance better, and the floor was working together." And you sort of look and go, it's just chalk and cheese the way that Alonso responded versus the way Stroll responded, and you're like, okay, Stroll might need some media practice and go, "Mate, this is what we actually talk like, not like that." So
Maybe he didn't get a chance to have a quick chat with a PR person before he did the interviews. Yeah, it was
I'd
interesting.
sit behind the
That was a train
wheel and
crash,
turn
right?
it.
Yeah, train wreck.
yeah, no, that was not
Painful.
encouraging. Yes, yeah.
But 2 cars in the points, so they actually did quite well.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. Who would have thunk it that the other team to get double points in the race, apart from McLaren, was going to be Aston Martin?
I mean, they weren't fast. There was a bit of an Alonso train for the first half of that race, and the leaders pulled away, to make a big gap. But it just showed you how important qualifying position was and how tricky it was to overtake on that track. But yeah, they managed some good strategy. They got a great result.
Well, we were commenting saying that everyone was stuck behind Alonso, but you look and go, no one had enough pace to actually take him in that corner. So while they might have been slightly quicker, they weren't that fast that they could take him and get off down the road. And the way he drove was just brilliantly.
You had to have a big tyre delta to do it, and Max was one of the few that actually managed to do an overtake. Not on the straight. He did around turn 3, I think it was, which is we've seen in the past plenty of times, but not often yesterday.
So, Lachy, you mentioned something which I just wanted to go back to as we were sitting watching the race last night. We know the Hungary ring is compared to a karting circuit, or as Sky continually referenced through the race that it was Monaco without walls, which they thought Martin Brundle had coined. But we have our own expert analysis of the track, which was, Lachy.
Yeah, look, the track was very cornery, and I checked that on the dictionary later on. It is a word.
It is a word.
It was definitely very cornery, the track.
I was convinced you made that up.
So
No. It's all legit, I swear. When no need to look it up, I've checked it. It's all fine.
Hungary is cornery.
Cornery.
Cornery,
We should update the Wikipedia article.
It's going to be on their banner for next year. Very cornery. It's good. Yeah. Moving along. Next.
So we saw the cornery track challenge the drivers, as we are just talking about Alonso having a bit of a train behind him. We did see Gabriel Bortoletto's standout performance as he performed extremely well, and we actually saw Gabriel get 8 points from the race. But we did see Verstappen and Hamilton facing challenges through the race. Red Bull just was not on the pace for this weekend.
No, they just couldn't find the setup, couldn't get speed out of the car. Yuki struggled as well as Max, as usual. But, yeah, both seemed to struggle. But, compared to Bortoletto in that Sauber did a fantastic job. And Alonso was really singing his praises in the interview afterwards as well, saying he was just an excellent driver and been doing well. So that was a really nice compliment for him. But, yeah, Red Bull lagging.
I kind of assumed that even though they were struggling in practice, that you'd just see Max just pull something out of his hat like he always does in quali and end up 3rd or 4th, but it didn't happen.
Well, it was interesting watching the commentators because they were saying with the upgrades that they bought to the Aston Martin, the car looked so much smoother on track. It was dialed in and all that, whereas then you watched Max driving it round and he was struggling. He was fighting the car. Right. Whereas Stroll and Alonso, it looked like they were just flat on the track, perfectly in, whereas it looked like Verstappen was wrestling with the car and trying to manhandle it around the circuit. So whatever upgrades that Aston Martin did for the weekend absolutely worked for that track.
It looked really well balanced, that car. Yeah. Much like the McLaren, when you saw the onboard, it was relaxed. There was they weren't working the wheel as hard as the Ferrari was, or Verstappen for sure.
What do we say, Happy? Smooth is fast.
Smooth is fast, apparently.
I think commentary was that perhaps the upgrades to the Aston Martin was like just the last piece of, or the piece of the jigsaw puzzle that made the other upgrades kind of get into sync and work out, which was interesting.
Yeah, I'm keen to see if they get a good lift in performance in the next couple of rounds. So that'll be good to see.
Yeah.
If we look at it, it is actually Aston Martin who is the only team that seems to still be focusing on this year's car, and the only team that are bringing major upgrades to the vehicle. So you may see that the other teams continue to struggle unless they actually do something with those cars, or they just write it off for 2026.
Or at the very least, they're at least making their upgrades work well, and they're finding pace out of them. Yeah,
Definitely.
Right. So if we go and just wrap up a little bit in regards to the race, we saw Lando Norris take out first position, followed by Oscar Piastri, and then George Russell taking the third podium for the race. As we'd said, we saw Leclerc, who had trailed off, being 42.5 seconds behind the lead as he crossed the line. Fernando, Gabriel Bortoleto, Lance Stroll, Liam Lawson, Max Verstappen, and then Kimi Antonelli rounding out the top 10.
Lawson did well.
Punchy.
Yeah, well, he had a consistent drive. He didn't do anything stupid.
He was the best Red Bull finisher. Yeah, it was a really solid drive. He's actually been looking good for the last few rounds. He's really found some pace.
And we saw Zach Brown tickled pink with both of his boys up the top. And there's been a lot of online commentary in regards to the alleged duos, but a lot of frustration through social media. In fact, Happy, I'm going to pop up the image you sent to us earlier today in regards to someone's thoughts as to how both the drivers are treated.
Yes, there's been some funny memes going around. Poor Oscar.
But Lachy, you'd put up in regards to some of the radio messages that we saw going through the race from both Lando and Oscar.
Yeah, no, I thought it was quite funny. Well, not funny as such. Lando, as he was sort of come up towards the back markers, he jumped on the radio and requested to make sure that the blue flags would be waving. He specifically said, I think the words were proactive management of blue flags to avoid losing time. And you just sort of thought that was a very interesting way to ask for it. But to be fair, the back markers did actually do the right thing and were moving out of the way. And then that followed up with Oscar's little chat with his team thing as well. And they were talking about, if we bring you in, it's okay. We can get in front of Leclerc. And his response was, I don't really care about Leclerc. I just want the best chance to try and beat Lando. That's the most important thing at the moment. And that was about as blunt as you can get, e.g., get me out in front of him. I do not give a stuff about the Ferrari.
That's smart, though. Like, he's basically saying, I don't care if I don't win the race. I just want to win the championship. So, that was, mature.
Sole focus.
Yeah, and you see McLaren pulling it together, step aside from strategy. They actually took out the fastest pit stop, and have to reference this with a 1.94 second pit stop for the race.
Where's the graph?
Well, we know how you like it. We know how you like your pit stops, Christian. So,
so you can see here. This is from the DH. Yeah, there's the graph. So you can see here the DHL fastest pit stops, which they run a competition each year and award the teams for the fastest pit stops through the season. And you see there McLaren sitting up the top there with 1.94 twice. So they got that twice in regards to that. So a really, really good effort in that regard. And then we saw just, as I said, a masterclass in regards to Piastri taking it to Lando, coming out 12 seconds behind Lando on lap 50 with that pit stop that they were talking about there, and just driving like a demon, taking half a second off almost every lap as he was getting closer and closer to Norris. Unfortunately, just at the very tail end, we saw that on lap 68, Piastri did a lock-up into turn one, trying to take the inside line on Norris. Lucky that could have been a bit of a bingle.
Bit of a Zach Brown chat.
No, Zach was still happy after the race, but I think he trusts both drivers not to make a dumb mistake. But that would look pretty close to being a dumb mistake, actually, I must say. It was
almost brown trousers time.
it was half a chance. And if Lando had got spooked and stayed wide, then Oscar might have had an opportunity up the inside with DRS down that next short straight as well. So, yeah, I mean, he had to try, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, he threw everything at it.
I think he said post-race was like probably the last chance he was going to have anyway.
Yeah, that was it.
He's just gonna
and he said he was only, he reckoned 0.1, 0.2 off actually getting there, but just that slight gap at the coming on the straight. He goes, if I was 0.1 closer, he goes, it probably would have actually worked.
It's really hard through that last section, through tight corners and dirty air when you follow someone, because you need to be within like 3 or 4 tenths, and he kept coming out, sort of 6 tenths behind.
That news just in.
Just ignore the arm then.
So we've got
some fresh stuff.
We've got the 70s haircut, and we've got the matrix printer in the background.
It's the fax machine.
Let me just peel the strips off the side. Hold on.
So I think that gives us the opportunity then to jump into our predictions. Not that it's going to make absolutely any difference whatsoever. I know there was a little bit of debate as we were sitting at HQ, where Happy got a little bit excited with George coming in third place.
Only because I forgot who I picked.
Don't worry, we recorded it for you. We can play it back for you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But look,
that was a terrible round for us, wasn't it?
Well, it's just a repeat of Silverstone. 0 points for the entire team.
To be fair, I'm consistently terrible, so that's okay. I'm actually happy with that result.
You're achieving expectation. Well, the rest of us are not.
But a lot has to be said for the magic hat, because we had Charles, George, Lando in your predictions, just in the wrong spots. Schwags.
Yeah, well, I think I've got to reassess the order I pull them out in. I think that's the issue.
Maybe just pull them out right, and you'll be okay. Like,
wow,
stop picking the wrong ones.
Well, you're 13 points, so you're going to have to do some big swings in this second half of the season to catch up. So maybe the hat's still got some legs in it yet.
Okay.
We might have to engineer some golden points.
From the other side, maybe then if he's going to do that, Nathan, then maybe we have to ban you from using Grok or ChatGTP to do your tipping, and then you have to do it properly like the rest of it. So.
Okay, I promise then for the next half of the season, I will not use any AI to help with my predictions.
No, watch him plummet down the ladder board.
100%. I will not use it.
Let's see how that goes.
Maybe they're not allowed to pick the same driver consecutively for 3 weeks or something.
Whoa.
But I mean, that's not going to work. No.
Not with those two out in front. You can't do that.
Awesome half points if we actually guess the right drivers just in the wrong order or something.
Ugh.
We've done that a bunch of times.
No, that's a next season problem. Have you and Lachy
been talking?
Next season problem.
Next season.
Someone's built a spreadsheet, haven't they? They've done the math.
Christian's got a graph. He can chop that out for
I'd be
you.
another 3 points ahead by now.
Anyway, what's the leaderboard? It hasn't changed.
So the leaderboard hasn't changed. So, Happy, you're still in first position there, with 31 points, followed by Lachy at 28, myself at 26, and Schwags following up with 13. So as we come into the summer break, affectionately known as silly season, hopefully we'll get some clarity over what's coming up for 2026 as we look at driver swaps, contract negotiations, and then also with Cadillac coming into the new season. Hopefully we get some confirmations on driver lineups for them as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
So with that, we're only going to be doing one podcast each week until we get back into racing. So be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And then we'll see you on the next lap. And that's the checkered flag for this episode of The Downshift. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us in the paddock. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a lap. And hey, if we've earned it, drop us a 5-star review. It really helps us climb the grid and reach more motorsport fans. Tune in next time as we keep pushing flat out to bring you fresh, current and entertaining content. Until next time, keep it fast, keep it fun, and we'll catch you on the next lap.